Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We are at day 4 of epIQ Week. My name is Leah Nicole Smith. I'm the Senior VP of Education and Research for Apartment Ratings and Satisfax. And yesterday, we talked about the importance of epIQ for renters. Well, I'm here today to talk about the importance of epIQ for you, for your communities, for your leverage, if you will, in ways that you can potentially get someone to choose your community versus another. So our epIQ truth for today, number 4, is that your epIQ components are going to give you an advantage over the competition. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. So if someone were to look for an apartment, let's just say I'm in New Orleans. So an apartment in New Orleans. They're going to do a generic Google search, right? And with generic Google searches or just a generic internet search, a lot of communities kind of seem like they're very similar in terms of their rating. So what we're looking at here are 3 communities. We have A to Z Lofts, Finn's Landing, and Springtown. Now on the surface, if we're looking at their Google reviews, they're all in line, 4.1, 4.0, 4.2. Now, that is going to get someone to at least create a short list, right? They've looked at 10 communities online. They're narrowing it down to the ones that they're seriously considering. Once that contact has been made, this is where the epIQ index can set you apart. You want to drive traffic to your epIQ index when they reach out. So they're asking about your pricing, they're asking if they can come tour. As part of that communication, you want to send them to your apartment ratings page so that they will then not only check you out, but check out those other communities that they've been contacting as well. And as you can see the little table at the bottom, in terms of Google, all things seem fair, but when that prospect goes to apartment ratings, this is where the field starts to separate. We have an A plus, an A, and a B plus. They're also going to be able to see your index, your overall renter rating, as well as your apartment ratings overall score. Now, what's the difference between those two? The epIQ index is where you've been performing for the last 365 days. Your overall score are all reviews that have been collected for you on apartment ratings. Inside of Exchange, we have this amazing tool, which is called the Competitor Analysis Report. You can populate this report with any community that you consider to be a competitor. When you export the data, you're not only going to get the components of the epIQ index, which is the table at the top. You're going to see the grade, the epIQ score, your renter rating, review count, review engagement, and reply time. But you're also going to get the individual experience ratings that are on apartment ratings. So you'll have noise, safety, grounds, maintenance, neighborhood, and office staff. And if any of those communities also participate in Satisfax surveys, you're going to see the scores for those surveys as well. So this just gives you layer upon layer upon layer of data to work with and potentially help you in terms of selling your community using verified metrics as opposed to using the things that everyone else is talking about. When you're looking at the epIQ index or when you're trying to draw a prospect's attention to your epIQ index, sometimes you get those kinds of questions like, is it quiet? Is it safe? And we've all been taught not to answer those kinds of questions, right? Or to answer them in sort of like a roundabout generic way. So for example, a prospect will ask you, how quiet is it here? Will you hear my neighbors? Or, will I hear my neighbors? Usually we've been taught to say something like, well, it's apartment living, so, we can't promise that you'll never hear your neighbors. That's kind of the generic answer that they're going to get at any community that they go to, because that's how we've all been trained. Here's the epic answer. You're still going to give them the generic, right? We can't promise that you'll never hear your neighbors, but we currently have a 4.4 rating for overall quietness on apartment ratings. That's the best kind of, little sprinkle on the top that you can give your residents, as opposed to just kind of almost creating the perception that you're avoiding the answer. Throw some data at them. It's definitely going to help them feel more comfortable in how you respond. Some closing strategies that you can use if you participate in our Satisfact surveys. You're going to have not only the overall score for those surveys showing up on your EPIC index, but if you click on the survey itself or the score, it is going to create a little pop-up box that will show you the questions, your scores for each rating question that makes up that overall score. So here's some things that you can do in terms of closing. If you have a prospect that comes out to your community and they decide that they don't want to lease right then and there, in your follow-up communication, include that screenshot along with something. Here's like a little blurb. I really appreciate you taking the time to visit us today. I totally understand you have other options to consider, but as you can see, for those who ultimately have chosen our community, their experience has been extremely positive, and we'd love to have you become our newest resident. You want to be able to provide what's called social proof. Other people have done it. They're happy. You can too. Your experience is going to be more like these experiences because we have the concrete proof. We have the data right in front of you. You're not going to be rolling the dice with our community. You can feel really confident if you choose to live here. With your maintenance survey, there's going to be questions on there that talk about the speed of your maintenance team, the quality of the work that's done, how fantastic it is. So instead of saying the generic stuff like, we have 24-hour emergency maintenance, those are things they're going to hear everywhere. You can say we have 24-hour emergency maintenance and our team has been rated 4.7 out of 5 for overall speed, or 4.7 out of 5 for overall quality. Give the prospect the hardcore facts. It's going to make their decision so much easier, and it's also going to make you all look like you really do know what's going on at your community, that you're really paying attention to the experience, the performance of your teams and your residents. I absolutely love this feature. And if you have our unclosed traffic survey and if you have our work order survey, these employee spotlight cards are available to you. For the unclosed traffic survey, you can create employee spotlight cards for your leasing agents. We are going to show their overall score for the presentation, so how well they work with the prospect, their knowledge, their level of expertise, that's a question that we ask on the survey, and how helpful they were. So think about a prospect who's trying to decide which communities do I really want to go see. This right here is marketing gold for you. This is such a convincing element of your apartment ratings page to get someone to leave from behind their computers or put down their phones and come check out your community. In terms of the work order survey, we have an employee spotlight for your service teams. So your service teams are rated, as I mentioned, on speed, on quality, on how courteous and professional they are. You can create cards, have their photos in there so people can see who they are, what they look like. And on your apartment ratings pages, anytime you create an employee spotlight, there's going to be in the top left-hand corner, there are going to be little icons to show all of your smiling faces, all of your people, and your prospects can just scroll through the photo carousel to get to know all of your team members, get to know how fantastic they are and how awesome they are with how well they're taking care of their residents. So again, this is available if you have our Satisfax unclosed traffic survey or our work order survey, or both. Here's some things to consider. Remember that renters are looking beyond the star ratings and number of reviews when deciding where to lease. There's so many more elements that are important to them beyond whether or not a review has 5 stars and it's just talking about how great the maintenance team is or how great the one person in the office is. They're really digging into the sentiment, the stories behind the reviews. And so that's why the details in the reviews on apartment ratings give a more complete understanding of the entire resident experience. Not only are you going to have that star rating, right, but we're going to break down the different components, the different elements to that resident experience. And again, one of my favorite features that we just rolled out is the employee spotlight cards and how you can use those spotlight cards to connect the experience with the human touch, the names, the faces, the stories, the ratings, all of that together to celebrate your team members. All right, so that was a lot of information that we covered today, but I hope it was all helpful. Now it's time to review the rules of our contest for the week. We're doing a week-long contest on social media. We want you to get your teams together, discuss how your community is going to prepare for an epic 2025, snap a photo capturing the moment, post it on either your community or your company social page. It can be Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. Doesn't have to be all three. Use the hashtag #HowEpicAreYou and tag us so that we know you've entered the contest. All entries must be posted by 5 p.m. Pacific time on November 22nd, and winners will be announced the following Monday, November 25th. We are giving away 3 $200 gift cards, and we love for one of you to be a winner of that gift card. Tomorrow, we are wrapping up Epic Week. It is day 5. Carla Alisea will be back with you guys to talk about ways that you can really elevate your Epic Index, have an amazing 2025. So thanks again for joining me, and we will see you all tomorrow.